This is Hofstra's Campus Conversations, the official podcast of Hofstra University's leadership team, focusing on issues of importance to Hofstra and higher education. Now welcome today's host, Hofstra President Susan Poser.
Hello, thank you, and welcome to this episode of Hofstra's Campus Conversations. We're going to be talking today about Hofstra's Day of Giving, which is Tuesday, February 25th. What is it? Why is it important? Who should give? How much? These and all giving-related questions will be addressed by Hofstra's Senior Vice President of Development and Alumni Affairs and Chief Development Officer, my guest today, Alan Kelly. Alan, thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So before we dive into Giving Day, can you tell our listeners a little about your role, your background, and how long you've been with Hofstra?
I've been at Hofstra for just over 20 years in some capacity. As you mentioned earlier, my title is Senior Vice President for Development and Alumni Affairs. So my role is kind of twofold. One is to deal with philanthropy and giving, raising and generating revenue from our alumni to meet some of our most pressing needs and scholarships, capital needs, et cetera, et cetera. And the second piece is the alumni affairs piece, which is really engagement of our alumni. It's trying to build a strong network of the alums we have around the country and around the world, give them access to some of our resources, be a resource for them, and over time try and get them more involved in what we're doing on campus.
But it's not only alumni who give, right? Don't we have lots of friends who give, friends of the university?
Great question.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So alums are primarily our largest constituency, but it's parents of current students and former students, a lot of friends, both locally and regionally, folks who have kind of adopted Hofstra over the years. We get support from corporations and foundations, so the net is cast pretty wide. And we have a lot of folks from a lot of different areas that support us on a regular basis.
Yeah, so speaking of friends and alumni, you're an alumnus of Hofstra, aren't you?
I graduated from Hofstra in 2020. Took me a while to finish, but I started my graduate work while I was here. Delighted to be a Hofstra graduate. Prior to that, I was at the University of Scranton, where I got my undergraduate degree. So it was a real thrill for me to be an alum of Hofstra and be part of the pride.
Yeah, we have quite a few of our folks in leadership at Hofstra who are also alumni. And I do think they bring that little extra tiny je ne sais quoi.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. It's good to notice. I think it's terrific to be a part of the community and to have been in the classroom and know what the students have gone through. I have a real vested interest, besides working here, and seeing the university progress. So I'm delighted to be an alum.
Fantastic. So now that you've explained your role here and your work in philanthropy, tell us about the Day of Giving. What is that?
Day of Giving for Hofstra is really an opportunity for our entire community to get involved in a big endeavor to raise important resources for the institution. But more importantly than that, it's to encourage participation from those alumni, friends, parents, et cetera, et cetera. It's a demonstration of global support for what we're doing. And it also gives a lot of our groups internally at Hofstra, our student groups and our alumni groups, a chance to raise important resources to kind of fulfill their mission and what they want to do.
So what are some of the groups that you can give to on the Day of Giving?
So if you go to our website that day and you go to the Day of Giving website, you'll see probably about 25 to 30 different call them tiles, but areas that they can give to. It ranges from student groups, athletic teams, Black Hispanic Alumni Association. You can give to scholarships. You can give to technology needs. We're really trying to involve many of our students and the student groups on campus for them to raise money by reaching out to the alumni who sat in their seats either recently or many years ago. So there's a wide variety of areas you can give to. It can range from, as I said, a cappella, if you were involved in a cappella, to the lacrosse team, to a club team, to a club that's in the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. So it's very, very broad.
And if you're somebody who just loves to give to scholarships, that's okay too?
We love that.
We love scholarships.
We love scholarships.
We do.
Scholarships being our number one need. Absolutely. Scholarships. And also another area that is really important for us is the Fund for Hofstra, which is our unrestricted vehicle, which allows us to address needs that are unforeseen. And folks can give to that, and it gives Hofstra some freedom in figuring out how to spend that money. Generally, that money goes to scholarships also, but some folks want to give the university some room to figure out what they want to spend it on.
Yes, and I know that certainly when I was a dean, for example, it's nice to have a little bit of extra money on the side that you can use for things as they come up. If a faculty member suddenly wants to take a trip and needs some money, or you need to purchase a new chair because something has fallen apart, it's good to have that little fund on the side. And I'm sure our deans would appreciate that as well from any of our schools.
Interesting that you mentioned that. Most of the deans, absolutely, they have their own, what they call discretionary funds or spending funds. Mm-hmm. The money is unrestricted into their fund. What they often spend their money on is helping students who have internships or need some extra money to finish a semester or need to travel into the city. So it's really priority needs for the students, and it's a great way for the deans to be able to provide that extra bit of help.
Yeah, that's great. And as we all know in higher education, there's lots of unforeseen things that come our way all the time.
Yes, there are.
Yes, there are. So you've talked to me occasionally about matching gifts, how in some cases giving $1 could actually be $2, or giving $100 could actually magically turn into $200. How does that work?
We have matching gifts this year. We had matching gifts last year, approximately 22 of them across a wide array of different areas. A donor will be asked to give a gift that matches other donors' gifts. So if the president of Hofstra says, I'm going to put up a $1,000 matching gift, and I make a gift of $500, my $500 is matched by your $500. So it's a way of increasing overall revenue. Most matches are one-to-one. Some are more than that. It's $2 to $1. But it's a terrific way of encouraging participation, as I mentioned earlier. This is really about participation. It's about number of donors on February 25th. It's important to raise money, but it's really important to create awareness and have folks who maybe haven't given to Hofstra before to make that gift and kind of feel part of the buzz around the day. There will be a lot of social media. There'll be a lot of emails, and a lot of our alums will serve as advocates for that day, reaching out to their pool of fellow alumni to try and help out. So it's a real community effort to try and get as many gifts as possible.
So you could give $5, $500, $5,000, $5 million.
Yes.
You could do that
you
if you wanted
could.
to. So it's not really necessarily about the size of the gift. It's really about the participation. I just want to sort of underline that point, because for us as a university, it's very gratifying to have wide participation and understand that there's a wide group of alumni and friends and parents and maybe even students and faculty and administrators who want to participate in this, even if it's not the time of year necessarily when they do their major gifts to things.
Right. That is exactly right. It's really about participation. What we want to talk about on February 26th, the day after, is how many folks within our community got involved, went online, picked up the phone, and made a gift to kind of be a part of this successful endeavor. There is a little bit in here, I'll go back to the advocates, there's a little bit of a competition and a prize for those folks.
We love competition.
Yeah, some of our alums will choose to be advocates. So they will get a special link that's assigned to them, and they'll send it out to their kind of community, their network. Those advocates who kind of spur on or encourage the most number of gifts will get a prize, which be from our bookstore. And I think the top gift is probably $150 and then $50. So it's a little bit of an incentive to kind of stay involved and push this. But we do find that our alumni really want to help by using their own networks. And I think that's a terrific way to advance today.
Now, you said something about passing a link. Is this all electronic, the ways to give? Do you have to sign on to your computer to do this? And if so, how do you do that? And if not, how else could you possibly give?
So there's numerous ways to give. You could go onto our website and you can go to Give. There'll also be a Day of Giving page within that. But you can go to the Hofstra Give button and give that. That will take you to the site, which will walk you through how to make a gift. But it certainly is not the only way. We have mailings, actual mailings that will go out. Related to Day of Giving, which will talk about the importance of it. So people can still write a check and mail the check back in and put a stamp on the envelope.
Old-fashioned.
Yep, and we love that. You never know what's coming in the mail. We also have student callers who will call on the days around that. So they are based over in Alumni House, and our student callers will call and specifically ask for gifts related to Day of Giving. So there's multiple ways to do it. Also online, if you're on an Instagram or you're on a social media site, there'll be links attached to all of that so folks can go that way.
And how about like Zelle and all of those? Do we do that?
Yep. We have a digital wallet. So PayPal, Venmo, Zelle, Apple Pay, that is accepted. And you will see that as an option when you go onto the website as to whether or not you want to use your credit card, mail in a check, or do it through the digital wallet, which I think is probably the most efficient way for folks to give today.
Yeah, and that's a relatively new thing we've started a few years ago, right?
Just a couple of years
Yep.
ago, and we've already seen massive usage of it. People are just familiar and used to giving that way now.
Yeah,
Very convenient.
I still have to get that.
Right.
So this is really helpful, and we will put the links, address, phone number, and all that stuff into the show notes. Just a few, cleanup matters. Are all gifts tax deductible?
All gifts are tax deductible, absolutely. And what we will do is send a receipt for your gift afterwards, and it will give you an indication of how much is tax deductible. As long as you don't receive any goods or services, and most folks don't, they give out of the goodness of their heart, and because they're philanthropic, they can write off the full value of the gift.
And how about things like stock and, that sort of thing, not actual,
Yep.
money?
We love gifts of appreciated stock. So if you happen to have AT&T stock that you were gifted a long time ago and it's increased in value, you would have to pay taxes on the increase in that value. By giving it to Hofstra, you will get a much more significant tax cut and tax benefit.
Oh,
so it is
that's
actually
cool.
very beneficial.
When I was the dean at the University of Nebraska, I was the dean of the law school. We once actually got a bushel of corn that we had. It's the absolute truth, and we had to go to the commodities market and sell it. And luckily there was an ag school there. They helped us, and the business school, and everybody kind of helped us figure that out. But yes, we had a bushel of corn. It actually brings in a lot of money in Nebraska.
Did sell it?
So yeah, of course. What else are we going to do?
We're going to bring it home.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
Yeah. So it wasn't in stocks, but it
Right.
was an appreciated bushel of corn. So it was great. So we talked a little bit about matching programs and incentives and being an advocate. So these are all really terrific ways to get people involved. So what if somebody has something else to do on February 25th? They're traveling, they're on a plane, they got all-day meetings, they just never get to it. Can they participate in the Day of Giving, not on the Day of Giving?
Yes, they can. We have to be flexible. So gifts that come in around the Day of Giving can and will be credited to Day of Giving for that very reason. Folks will receive our mailers ahead of time. They'll maybe send a check in this week, which will arrive before. Folks with every intention to make gift for Day of Giving may make the gift the next day. As long as they put a notification in there, we will count it as a gift to the Day of Giving.
And they can include a note that says, I want this to go to the, women's basketball team or the a cappella group or whatever.
Yeah, I think in this instance, that's probably one of the most critical things is knowing that we want participation, we want large volume of gifts, but knowing that your gift is going to exactly where you want it to go.
Right.
And so having all those opportunities really helps our donors, I think, feel good about what they gave to, and it may connect them back to what they were involved in when they were at Hofstra.
Okay, well, thank you, Alan. This has been very enlightening and informative, and I hope it has inspired our listeners to participate on February 25th. What day of the week is that? Oh, Tuesday. Must be a Tuesday. Giving Tuesday, of course. Okay, so thank you very much for joining me today and explaining all of this.
This was great. Thank you very much, and I encourage everybody to be a part of our Day of Giving.
We're getting up to how many donors? What's the goal?
The goal is to exceed the 3,000 donor number for Day of Giving.
3,000 people giving.
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
whatever they can and would like to give.
Yes.
Terrific. Okay. Every gift to Hofstra enables us to further student success, support faculty, and build programs, and that is the most important thing that we do. You can search Day of Giving on hofstra.edu, our website, or check the show notes where we will have all of the links and information for your gift.
If you have questions, comments, or topic ideas for Hofstra's Campus Conversations, please email podcast@hofstra.edu. Hofstra University has produced and provides this podcast for general information only. It is created in collaboration with WRHU Studios.